By this time my name became celebrated as a bold navigator and fortunate merchant. My vanity was so highly gratified by these distinctions that I determined to support my claim to them by undertaking another voyage. Accordingly, I fitted out and loaded a stout ship of larger burden than any I had sailed in before. We had been several weeks at sea before we made land, and at last touched at a desert island, where we found an egg of a roc. There was a young ROC in it, almost hatched, as the bill began to appear. As we had been for some time confined to salt provisions, the sailors determined to have a feast. Accordingly, they broke the egg with hatchets, and cutting away large pieces of the young ROC, they roasted them and regaled themselves. I earnestly persuaded them in vain from this rash measure. However, when they had gratified their desires, they listened to my advice, which was to hasten on board and sail directly away before the old ROC should return. We embarked and got under way with all diligence 5, but we scarce had weighed anchor when we saw the male and female rocks appear at a distance, like two large clouds. When they approached their egg and found it broken, the noise they made was tremendous. They rose again immediately into the air and flew away, so that we lost sight of them, and began to think we had nothing to apprehend. These hopes were soon at an end. In a very little time we saw them approaching us slowly. When they drew near we discovered too plainly the cause of this delay. They carried between their talons stones or rodier rocks of a prodigio earth size. When they came directly over our ship, they hovered, and one of them let fall the stone she held, which, by the dexterity of the steersman, we evaded. But the other ROC was mere successful. His stone fell in the middle of the ship, which had split into 1,000 pieces. All the crew were either killed by the fall of the stone or sunk very deep into the sea. The latter was my fate. I continued so long under water that I was almost spent, but on regaining the surface I found a piece of the wreck near me. I immediately got upon it, and committing myself to the mercy of the waves, I had the good fortune next day to get on shore on an island, the most beautiful and fertile I had ever seen. The whole country appeared a delicious garden, abounding with the choicest fruit trees. I refreshed myself plentifully, and afterward resigned myself to sleep. The next day I awoke, fully recovered from my fatigue, but much grieved for the loss of my companions. As the country was so pleasant, I resolved to penetrate further into it in search of inhabitants. I had not advanced far when, coming to the bank of a stream, I saw a little old man, who seemed to be very weak and feeble. I saluted him, which he returned by bowing his head, and making signs for Run to take him on my back and carry him over the brook. I thought he wanted assistance, and Riedela complied, and went on the other side. I stooped that he might get off with the greater ease, but instead of doing so, he clasped his legs nimbly about my neck. His skin appeared as impenetrable as iron. He sat astride on my shoulders, and held me so close that I thought he would have strangled me. The surprise and terror of my situation overcame me. I fainted and fell down, notwithstanding which, the old man continued on my shoulders. When he found I had recovered, he struck me so severely with his feet that I was obliged to rise and carry him where he pointed. At night he made signs to me to lie down, he continuing here hold about my neck, and in the morning, when he wished to rise, he struck me with his feet, as a signal to get up, with him or my shoulders. In this manner I continued for a considerable time, burdened with the execrable old fellow, who never left me for a single moment. One day I found in my way some dry calabashes. I took a large one, and having cleaned it, I filled it with the juice of grapes, and set it in a convenient place. Some time after I returned thither, and found my wine very good. I drank heartily of it, which raised my spirits, and I began to sing and dance as one walked along. The old man, perceiving what effect the wine had upon me, made signs for me to give him some. I gave him the calabash, and he was so pleased with the liquor that he drank it all. The fumes of it presently got into his head. He became drunk, and sat with his legs much looser about me than usual. I seized the opportunity, and suddenly threw him off. He fell to the ground in a state of insensibility, and with a large stone I crushed his head to pieces. I rejoiced exceedingly at my deliverance, and regaining the seacoast I met with the crew of a ship who had cast anchor to take in water. From them I learned that my late situation had been more dangerous than I had thought it. You fell, said they, into the hands of the old man of the sea, and are the only one that ever escaped strangling by him, as he never left any he had once mastered till their strength was exhausted when he failed not to destroy them. The captain of the vessel received me very kindly and readily gave me a passage to the port he was bound to. My good fortune did not forsake me. When we landed I was permitted, through the interest of the captain, to join a body of adventurers of a singular kind. I had a large bag given me, and was advised to follow the example of my companions, and by no means to separate from them, as I valued my life. We went together to a neighboring forest, the trees of which were very straight and tall, and so smooth, it was impossible for any man to climb them. As we drew near we saw a great number of apes, who fled from us and climbed the trees for safety. We pelted the apes with betones, who in return threw at us coconuts, which the trees bore in great plenty, and thus through the indignation of the animals we were supplied with those valuable fruits which our utmost industry could not otherwise have obtained. By diligently folioing this avocation, I soon got together a very considerable cargo of coconuts. One sailed with these to another port, where I exchanged them for pepper and aloes, and after some time arrived at Balzora, very considerably enriched. Tomorrow, continued Sinbad, giving the porter his customary present, I will relate to you my next adventure. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you get the next episode as soon as it's out. And make sure to like the video because it really helps us keep going. Are you ready to find out what happens next? The answers and decisive confrontations are waiting for you in the next episode, coming very soon. Don't miss it. At the end of the video, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode, coming soon.